Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to another exclusive sit down on Delhi TV. Tonight we tackle the monumental tension gripping Cameroon, a nation on the edge. Tomorrow, President Paul Biya's inauguration is set amidst widespread resistance and questions over the recent election results. We are witnessing an unprecedented defiance. The highly respected three-day goes down strike organized by opposition leader Issa Tchiroma, who declared himself the rightful winner despite the Constitutional Council's ruling. This strike has paralyzed the nation, highlighting the deep rift, especially considering the two Anglophone regions' apparent disinclination to participate. Leaders are fleeing under government threats, and the people are desperate, asking, what happens next? Tonight, we are honored to be joined by an exceptional person, my friend and brother, Dr. Elonge, a distinguished lecturer, comedian, and media personality. Perhaps most of you know him as Auntie Felicia, but of course, we're not talking about Auntie Felicia today. We're not having a sit down with Auntie Felicia. We are having an exclusive sit down with Dr. Elonge. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to welcome on board the formidable Dr. Elonge. Welcome on board, Dr. Elonge.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know. You do the best intros. I need to. I
Oh,
need to.
please.
You need to tell me your trick, or give me your script because I don't know how to introduce myself. But you do so much justice like I can barely recognize myself in the introduction. So thank you for making me sound so good. And it's always a pleasure to be
Today,
here with
did
you.
you notice that? We're twinning. Did you notice that?
Yes, I see. What did they say? Okay, arrogance, but great minds think alike.
I know, right? It's such an honor to have you. I mean, the entire world, let me put it like that, uh, they want to hear you speak. The entire world, we are eager, we are anxious to hear you, share your big brains with us as far as the elections in Cameroon, the euphoria and every other thing is concerned. So it's such an honor for Delhi TV to have you on board. And man, we can't wait. We can't wait to pick your brains. Welcome once again.
Absolutely, I'm here. I'm here.
I've got loads of questions for you, anyways. But let's start with this one that I've been boiling to ask. Many
Yes.
people do not know that you used to work for Elekam. First of
Mm.
all, were you part of the people rigging the elections in the past, or you were the exception? And if that's the case, so we know if to jump on you right now. But it will be an honor to have you take us through what happens in
Yes.
Elekam. What happens when we vote? What do you people do with it? First sight, as an insider, let's have first-hand information
Yes.
from you.
I think I've been about my work with Elekam and my stance on a lot of things because I know that I was never compromised. I can 100% speak for myself. And I can speak with so much authority because I know exactly that I was never compromised. However, I cannot speak for everybody. But I know that the colleagues that I worked with, a lot of the colleagues that I worked with in Kumba, in Meme Division, especially, that's Kumba 1, 2, 3, Konya and Bonge, a lot of them at the time we were working were really people of integrity. Of course, there will always be the bad people who are loyal to, especially godfathers who somehow got them into a Lekam. And so you would always have these people completely floor the system. But generally you would have a lot of Elekam staff with really, I mean, with the people I worked with in Kumba 1, 2, and 3 especially, these were people who were dignified. It is really sad that after these particular elections I got to know about some of the really terrible job that was done by some of the staff, the Elekan staff, especially in Konye and Bonge, staff who were completely compromised. So it's just sad. It's just sad to see that, because you're thinking it's not even a type of bribe. I mean, nobody should accept a bribe, but 300,000 francs, 200,000 francs, and you're ready to out the voices of every person who wants to use that voice as a form of protest, as a form of standing up to a system that has failed them. I don't just get it.
I mean, you know how it is. So some people have the opinion that you are a type of Chiroma. So you stay with the government, you steal our votes. You come now, you need our votes, and then you.
That's a nice question, but that's people who don't understand my entire story, because I actually resigned from election, um, and it wasn't purely because of the fact that I was discontent with the way election was run. That's one of the things. Um, but also while I was in election, let me tell you what happened. SDF won elections in Kumba 1, 2, and 3. It had never happened. And I can give you an experience where I was in Kumba 3 at the Divisional Commission for the proclamation of results. And I remember at this time there was it was the municipal elections. The municipal elections are normally declared at the local level, at the council levels. They are not sent to the constitutional council. So that's why you need constantly emphasize that we need to do a lot more work at the municipal levels, because there it is difficult for people to rig. We can set up strong machineries and mechanisms to make sure that we can stop we can foil rigging. But the things I noticed was when the CPDM lost the elections in during that in that municipal twin elections with 29 votes in Combat 3. I was an elected representative for that commission, and I remember this one of the CPDM big wigs calling the CPDM representative to bribe all of us in the commission. And what happened was, I mean, I said no. The representatives of when the election staff says no, there is nothing that can be done. Right? There is nothing. And then there is the head of the commission who happened to have been a magistrate. Now, you would always think that the magistrates are corrupt, but let me tell you what had happened. The magistrate, presiding judge at that time, had just been diagnosed with cancer, and she had just given her life to God. So, so she could not take a bribe because I mean, cancer is a painful thing, but she had given her life to Christ. So she was with us, you know, defending it, and the votes went to SDF, and SDF won. And I remember Kona Makia became the mayor for Kumba 3. And I can tell you that the SDF guy took back the information about how firm I stood my grounds with my boss then, Issa Mashadi. He's a guy of very high integrity. And and they gave me the name Straight Jacket. If the opposition in Cameroon gives you a nickname Straight Jacket, they know you're doing something right. So
Yeah.
like I said, I know a lot of Elecam personnel who are truly people of really unquestionable integrity. But you see, you just need one bad
See,
seed to spoil everything. I can tell you this year in Konya and Bonge, they used just one staff each to rig the entire election. One. They just used one to rig the entire election. I have reports on the staff of Bonge. I have reports on the staff of Konye. Elections in Konye in Bonge, for example, were taken to the reports on the county operations were filed in a hotel. These are reports that we get from whistleblowers and all of that, and we are keen to see what actions Elekam will take take against this staff if they are not complicit in all of this. So, trust me, Delhi, the reports that are given to Elecam are still reports that are from the same Elecam staff. Some of them heads of the council, but who are reporting against the malpractices from their staff. So you see, it's not void of people who have integrity. And some really, some just want Elecam staff vote. So some people want change too. You know, yeah, because how much do they even bribe people there? It's crazy.
I know it's,
So
I'm
I can
thinking
tell you
about
without a doubt that I did not leave Elekam because I'd ripped from Elekam and I was done with Elekam. No, I left Elekam first as a process of growth. I had worked with Elekam for 11 years. Within that period, I studied, I had my master's and PhD while in Elekam. And while there, I did not see the possibility of growing in Elekam because in Elekam, for you to grow, somebody has to die. For you to, or somebody has to leave the post that is higher than you, really, for you to go. It's not because you've attained some other form of knowledge, degree, and all that that easily catapults you to a new position. So I was looking at it, and I was like, no, there is no growth trajectory here. Leadership is very entrenched, so I cannot. Number two is that I had a different opportunity for that same growth at the Southwest Regional Assembly, where I was supposed to serve. I mean, people can grow, but it doesn't mean you were corrupt. In the area where I served, I know that I did my job and I did it well, and I think that I have the records to show.
we just wanted to be sure that you're not part of those who were stealing our votes and giving to the other people, and then at some point you were chased
No,
out, and then you found yourself with us, and
no,
now you want to, paint a Lekam bad.
no.
But we're happy that we have an insider getting first-hand information from you, and just to know that every other person working with Lekam is not a bad seed after all. But it takes
Yeah, it's
just
not.
one bad
It's
seed
not.
to mess up the entire system, and that's
Yes,
what's
the
happening.
mess of the entire
But thank you
system.
so much for
Yeah,
that brief, insight. We're
yeah.
happy to have that. Let's talk about more interesting things that people would want to hear of. We saw you endorse Issa Tchiroma just few days to
Yeah.
elections, and you came out strongly. You are a powerful voice. Most people rallied behind you. Those who were one foot in and out, they actually had their stand at that time when you came out. May we know why you endorsed Issa Chiruma, and how has it been for you since then? Is it a decision that you passionately uphold and you stand by it, or there is a chance that you might have, erred in the process of that?
Okay, yeah, I think this is a lovely question. First, I don't think Issa Chiroma was my first choice when the candidates for the elections were initially declared. For obvious reasons, he's a very flawed candidate. He has enough baggage, and for me, I had written extensively against Issa Chiroma when I ran my blog on Filtered. And so I could not imagine myself ever endorsing Issa Chiroma. My initial choice was Samuel Iyodi Hiram. He was young. He had some kind of momentum. He was a fresh face, but I was particularly concerned about policy because for those who just break into the scene, you want to see whether they have a pulse on what is happening in the country. So I have always voted opposition. I voted SDF in 2011. I voted Camto in 2018, and because I am still to see the kind of madness that will make me vote CPDM. So this time I was really keen, and I really loved the way Iyodi's campaign was rolled out. You know, and so I was keen on the issues. As an Anglophone, I am particularly keen on the things that affect us as Anglophones. So I reached out to Iyodi directly, not to. So I got in contact with him, began talking with him. Delhi, I can tell you that he had even told me he would be coming to the United States, and I was planning to be to organize a fundraiser for him to be part of it and all of that. And we began talking. But one of the things I was keen on knowing is what were his plans for the Anglophones and the Anglophone problem that we are facing, that we've been facing for 9, 10 years now, in terms of how it has escalated. And I said, Now, I never wanted to get that information just in private. I wanted people to also have that discussion. So to me, I felt like my platform would be a gateway for him to have that discussion and answer to the questions and know what people really want. And he can try out his policy, can even refine them in the process. Delhi, this thing was the level of reluctance that I experienced when it came to talking about the Anglophone problem. But I saw him talking to 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 TikTokers in Canada who were French speaking, um, handling issues like, will I allow gay relationships in Cameroon? We have issues, real present issues that have plagued us for decades, for more than half a century, and you want to be president and you're going with a non-starter, and you will not have this discussion, and you keep, so they were not, the communication officer was not engaging and all of that and all that. I don't know if it's just they never wanted to engage in the topic, or it was some form of minimizing of me and my platform. But then that it just left a sad taste, right? I cannot endorse that. But while I was going through that mental debacle, what happened was Chiroma went to Bamenda, and and it is how I think I first of all watched his interview with Mimi Mero. I'm always very dismissive of Chiroma, but it was how contrite he seemed, how apologetic he was of his role. And you and I know that that's something that is hard to come by with politicians in Cameroon. They just start from it is a belief that they feel like time just heals the thing. They don't need to actually say anything. They don't have to address this. They don't owe us any form of accountability and all that. So for the first time, seeing Cheruma, whom I have known to be an architect of most of the problems that we have in terms of his communication, being so vulnerable, trying to come down to connect, I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. I endorsed him with a pinch of salt, right? Because I did not see at the time any candidate who had also the momentum. Because it's one thing to endorse a candidate and to endorse a candidate who can win, you know. So in his outings and the fact that the momentum, I saw growing momentum around him, and I saw determination, and then I saw the type of company he kept, especially in the Anglophone community. I have a lot of respect for Barrister Agbobala, and that's one discussion I had. Are you sure this is somebody we can trust? We know his history. And Alice Com, Metro Alice Com is somebody I've always respected for her defense of human rights. Dr. Rebecca Enonchong. So all of these people who are reputable people cannot just suffer collective amnesia and decide to endorse Chiroma. There must have been something in it. They must have seen something that I think you and I too recognized in him. You know, so that was my motivation, and I felt that he stood the only chance, and I've been proven right in that he won the elections fair and square. So I don't regret it at all.
You take a decision, you stand by it, and you face it squarely, and that's what you have done. And to tomorrow, I mean, we would say that you did the right thing. You were talking, and you got to the point where you're talking about Hiram, and you said something, and I had to calm down myself to say, you know what, Danny, you're not the one answering the questions. You're meant to be asking these questions, you know. Yeah, and that leads me to, if the youths are ready to take over, because that's a conversation, maybe for a different another time, a different sitting, because I didn't plan for us to have that. But that is something we should be
Yeah.
talking about, you know, because again, we've talked
Yeah.
about the system, we've pointed fingers at the elderly, oh, we say the ancestors, and they're not, they should retire. But how ready are the youths to uphold power
Yeah, and
and
I
do the
like
right
the way
thing?
you phrase that. I like the way you phrase that. How ready? Because I do not impugn the character of Iran. I think that he's a guy with really good integrity and all that, but I don't think that he ought to understood how pressing this issue was to the Anglophones. But I
Exactly.
think that I think that his head is in the right place. I think that if he has the right team around him, he would make for a fantastic leader. But right now, I just do not think he was connecting with us the way he was supposed to connect. I felt that he people were much more enamored by the fact that a young person like this, good looking and everything, burst into the scene. But when you try to poke into the issues, then you began seeing some of the lapses. But his character is not something that I question. I think that because in my interaction with him, he came up as somebody with a lot of integrity. But then it's not just integrity that makes a good leader, right? You must
That's
understand the
exactly.
issues. Yeah.
Exactly. And just to add to that, we are not saying that the Anglophone crisis is Cameroon. We are saying that for
Mhm.
Cameroon to matter, the Anglophone crisis should matter. And if you
Absolutely.
are to be in that position, then we hope at least to hear you be
Yeah.
bothered about that aspect, which is very significant. Just so people don't
Yeah.
say that you were just all about the Anglophone crisis and
Oh no,
not the
no,
rest
no.
of the.
You see, first of all, the Anglophone crisis is a decade-defining crisis in Cameroon, and even in
Right.
the reign of Biya. This has defined the last 10 years of our lives. And so there is no other prevailing socio-political crisis in Cameroon that trumps the Anglophone crisis. This is a crisis that threatens the very fabric of the nation, its unity, its unity. So, and we keep talking about Cameroon being one and indivisible, but that particular epithet is something that came as a result of people knowing that we're becoming,
Demanded and oh whatnot, and it was so
good.
glaring. And if you are
Yes,
coming to govern the entire Cameroon, that should matter to
yes.
you more than I think
It
most
should
of
matter. It should
that
matter.
represented.
It should.
I love that.
Because
Like I
because for
said,
the
we're going to
longest time, yeah. Go on, go on.
right. I love, like I said, we're going to have another sit down. You and I can talk
Yes.
for Africa. So let's keep those ones aside and not make this about
Yeah.
that. And come back to other things. How do you interpret the success of the three-day ghost town strike across the national territory? And what does this level of compliance signify about the population's fate in the current government?
See, I have always said that this is not about Chiruma. It's true that Chiruma's leadership is important in how people try to stage a protest against this system. But this is really about people having their own kind of internal impetus to sustain their resistance against this system. Which means that even if Chiroma were to chicken out, that
Yeah.
should not stop you from standing up to that system, because it wasn't the presidency that was taken away from Chiroma. It was your voice and your choice that was taken away from you. So it is bigger than Chiroma, but Chiroma falls in the position of leadership. So I can tell you this, and I don't know if it's controversial, but I was really pleasantly surprised that the French speaking part of the country could even engage in the ghost town operations and the call for ghost town as a form of protest. Because I had I have never seen that kind of stamina when it comes to protesting in Cameroon from the French speaking part of the country. The last time I know such a thing happened was still spearheaded by an Anglophone, Nijon Fundi, when they were fighting for multi-party politics in the early 1990s. So that was the first time which ghost town operations were used, and I think in Douala they had the Douala 10 that supported that thing. Yeah, but it was really nice to see, especially to see how young people were engaging across demographics, young people, women, and all that. I was watching a video of one of the divisional officers going to the market to tell people to virtually bully people to open their businesses. And this lady was telling him in his face that, see, I am only opening now just so that you can check. And when you go, I'll close it. I'll close it. And so you can see the determination. People are tired. They are tired of this system. So I don't know. I don't know how what would be the plan in terms of long term in terms of how sustainable the ghost town operation can be. But it was nice to, as an indicator that there is still popular support around Chiroma as a leader. You know, people still can respect what he said, but I don't know how sustainable that is. It would be nice to see the tools that he has in his toolbox with his team to see and the things that we can coalesce around. But so far, I think that it was a good move. It was also a good move to show that, you know, the government does not, and the Biya regime does not really have the people riding for them. Yeah.
Of Issa Tchiroma, before we get into talking about the regime.
Yeah.
Issa Tchiroma went against the Constitutional Council's ruling to declare himself winner. Now, that actually divided the population's take on it. Some people on one hand saying that, you know, that is legitimate leadership, and on those on the other hand saying it's dangerous, it has dangerously escalated, you know, the political tension in Cameroon. Where do you stand at this point in time? Do you think that act of his, that single act of coming out to say, I am your president-elect, and hey, we're just waiting for Constitutional Council to say this, actually sent a lot of people away from his camp? Or would you say that was the right thing to he should have done?
Because what is the other choice? I mean, they would have still declared for Paul Biya even if he had not said that. I think that was a form of protest in itself of saying, "See, I am not going to sit here and listen to your sham results and go through and provide legitimacy to a constitutional council that is a rubber stamp for that same president." This is an old entrenched power that the institutions are bowing to. So I am not going to sit there and say and go through what Maurice Kamto and Frundi had to go through, which is saying I'm going there, give legitimacy like the Constitutional Council would be there to listen to the complaints, would even has the power to overturn the results that have been given to them. I should tell you something. The results given to the Constitutional Council does not fraud the results. The results were frauded before they got to the Constitutional Council. The Constitutional Council is just declaring what has been given to them. So the results are known before they get to the Constitutional Council. They are known. If you take and perhaps I didn't understand the 2 weeks thing. I think that's the reason why I don't get.
So I'm not sure. I'm not meant to be holding a constitutional council accountable. I'm meant to be holding a LECAM in essence.
Yes, elect because I can tell you without a doubt, all the rigging takes place at the polling stations. At the polling stations, and you can see evidence of it, especially in rural Cameroon. Every rural area that has problems of access and all of that, that's where massive rigging takes place. Because oftentimes the opposition parties are not represented in polling stations in the rural areas, especially in the southwest and northwest, where because of the crisis, there's been a lot of internal displacement. Look at what Elecam had to do. Elecam had to merge polling centers. So they'll take it. Just imagine this. So in many ways, these elections also even qualify as a free, fair, and transparent election, because an election can be free and not fair. These are individual elements that constitute an election. It can be free and unfair. I give you an example. Eleka merged the polling station of Kake one to they brought it to my one park. Now, if let me try to use Boya, since you might better understand that. It's saying they took a polling station that was in my 16, a polling center for my 16, and brought it to UB. I said everybody who had registered in my 16 should now move to UB to vote. That will result to a lot of disenfranchisement because there are a lot of people who cannot walk that distance to go and vote and come back, right? So these are the things that the CPDM and the administration used in defrauding. They made it, they disenfranchised people and then voted for them. They used areas where elections could not even hold to actually fraud. And we saw that stuffing of ballots, and it's really pathetic. And people make this thing that it gets on my nerves, this particular thing when people say it, that, but the opposition parties did not have representatives, so they cannot really protest. I'm like, no. The rule of thumb is that elections have to be free, fair, transparent. The fact that you have a representative of an opposition party is an additional safeguard. It doesn't mean that election should be rigged
Not the main,
willy-nilly
yeah,
because it's crazy. Well, it shows that
I know.
we have an ethical gap in the country.
Indeed, indeed, Dr. Elonge, we have an ethical gap in the country. Speaking of ethical gaps, there's been widespread respect of the ghost towns. Why would you say that the two speaking Anglophone regions in Cameroon they seem disinclined or less responsive to this call? Let's take some of the comments and we'll get back to this comment, this particular question. It's a lot of comments, so I don't want them to sleep. Okay, so greetings to everyone in the comment section. I have Sam Odoro. Sam Odoro is saying he was our born Diab, whatever that means. I think he was talking in line with some of the comments you made. Ima Dama Jones, Doctor really is a man of the people, having his people at heart. Take your stars, Doc. Accolades for you. So then we have G Samuel. G Samuel is saying that Dr. Elonge, I beg to calm down with that big book. You shame my Zibango, don't see, so whatever that means. But hey, it's still, I guess that's still an accolade. We have Jerry Archer. Jerry Archer states, have you shifted from your family advice to politics now? Jerry Archer, that should be, I guess that should be me. No, Jerry Archer, let me just answer that. No. This is a very important season in Cameroon. I think it's important that everybody who has a voice, I think I do have one, at least considerably. I want to talk about what is happening in my country, what is important to us. There is no talk on relationship at this point in time that is more significant than what is happening politically in your country. Just so you know, so I had to pause that. We had to pause all of what we're doing on Delhi TV and even my private space just to take up on the euphoria of the moment and, to tap in on that. Just, I hope I answered your question. So, no, this is temporarily, and hopefully in 1 or 2 weeks' time, we are bouncing back on what we used to do, okay? So don't fret. I'm not a politician, but man by nature is a political animal, so we all are, if you see what I mean. So, yeah, you have to be part of these conversations. Joseph B is saying, I love this session. Thank you so much, Joseph B. Yeah, everybody will love Dr. Elonge, obviously, because he cuts across both worlds, right? The old school and the Gen Zs. He's somewhere in midway, so he's such a good guest to have. We have Emma Dama Jones. Emma Dama Jones is saying, good, no socio-political crisis that trumps the Anglophone crisis. Exactly. Thank you for that judgment. Thank you so much, Emma, as well. Dr. Edith Delight Gibson is saying that, hello, Doc, I see you. She's saying that that's exactly what my interest is. What tools are in that box? Exactly. We have Joseph B saying as well, economic effect is so much. Missed flights, missed transportation to cities, company operations completely shut down, markets shut down, hospitals shut down, and a lot, man. Yeah. We have Numfor Leonard. There's too many comments, man. We have Numfor Leonard. Numfor Leonard is saying that, good evening, dear. Yes, good evening to you as well. Global Citizen says it's the elites that are mostly to blame, though a bit on us, the local community, for not engaging properly. And we're going to talk about the youth involvement in politics and how the recent transition based off of what's happening. We have Ross Esolimoto Marcel. He's saying that we need to work with Issa Tchiroma Bakari, and we need to be resilient in our approach. To uproot a 43 years old regime is not a biscuit. Elecam Cameroon is a pure sham. Cameroonians dying in silence because of the brutal regime. I'm living good, but my people are dying in pain and I can't be at peace wherever I am. I cry for Cameroon every day. I think we all share in that sentiment. Rules is Solimoto. So thank you so much for that. Then we have Ignatius call for Ngebe. He says it's really disturbing that Southern Cameroonians are bordering themselves with La République du Cameroon's elections wahala. In 1992, did Ni John Fundi not win similar elections? Ignatius, of course, I get your sentiments, I understand your concerns, but again, understand that we are talking Cameroon, we're not just talking about Southern Cameroonians. You have your political views, we have ours. What's going on?
That's right.
We can hear you. We can hear you, but
Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you. We just cannot.
Together we'll solve it. Let the stories unfold. With laughter and tears, we'll not walk alone. Love is a journey, a winding road. Sometimes sweet, sometimes a heavy load. Got questions burning, knots in your heart. Delhi's here to tear them apart. From the past that lingers to dreams yet to mold. Together we'll solve it, let the stories unfold. With laughter and tears, we'll not walk alone. In the rhythm of love, you'll find your tone. Hello Delhi, the beat is calling. Relationships talking, walls are falling. From Cameroon to London, New York to Paris. Sharing your stories, finding your home. Live in direct, let your voice be heard. Every question, every single word. Hello Delhi, your digital shrine. For love and connection, a truth so divine. Marriage bells ringing, single and free. Culture clashing, what will it be? Tradition whispers, modern life screams. Delhi's got answers, fulfilling your dreams. Guiding through heartaches, joy and delight. With every conversation we'll shine so bright. Past the borders, around the globe. In this vibrant world, let your heart probe. Hello Delhi, the beat is calling. Relationships talking, walls are falling. From Lagos to London, California to Kenya.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We do apologize for that little glitch there. Thank you so much for those who have stayed through. Yes, I still see some of the comments. And before we had the break, we were talking to Ignatius Comfort, who said it's really disturbing that Southern Cameroonians are they're bothering themselves about what's happening in La République. Ignatius, you should understand that we are all Cameroonians. And yes, we understand history. However, where we are, we have different political views. And so you should respect ours, just like we respect yours. So when we're having a sit down like this, we expect you to either contribute or just listen and, just give us the hand, rather than trying to dissuade us from the conversation, because it's not going to change that. So at least you should respect the guest that you have on board, listen to what he's saying, his own perspective about Cameroon and what's happening in Cameroon. And we would love to equally have you come and share your own views and your thoughts about this. You see what I mean? So that's it. We have rules, and Simoto is saying that please come up like this on daily basis. Thank you, Daddy Singer. I do appreciate everyone. If you have sent your comments, maybe from Dr. Elonge's page, we've not read it, please get on Daily TV page, okay, so that I can see them, because I can't see from his own page. If you're watching from my official page, Daddy Singer, please jump into the comment section on Daily TV so we can project your comments. Back to Dr. Elonge. Welcome back, Doc, and thank you for being this patient with us.
No, thank you. This is fantastic.
Right, before the break, we're talking about the widespread respect for the ghost town in Cameroon, and then the two English parts of Cameroon. are known to be, they just keep it to themselves. They're saying that, you know what, we've been there, done that. You guys can take over from
Yes.
us. And you can see videos circulating on social media, people making sarcastic comments and all whatnot. What would you say? What does this tell us about, the political fragments that we have in Cameroon? Would you say that
Yeah.
Cameroonians, Southern Cameroonians are right to react or respond to what's happening, or you would rather call them to be more active in the current situation?
I can tell you without that I totally understand why. um I think they are more like sick and tired of being sick and tired. We've done all of this, and we did this with the complete absence of the French part of the country, where whom we're hoping would join and empathize. And trust me, if the French speaking part of the country had joined the English speaking part to protest against what was perceived as the Anglophone problem, we would not have that problem. They say that change can only come about when those who are unaffected are as indignant as those who are affected. So, because of that, I think that we've gone through 9 years of just pain and all of that, and I think that people feel like, okay, now it's your turn to experience what we've been saying about this system. But I think that's very short-sighted, to look at it like that. Because what we've been asking, even if it's coming at the last minute, which is that the nation should rally to take the Biya regime out. If we are having we're having an aha moment with our francophone brothers and sisters, then we should all stick to the plan. We should all be doing the ghost town. I would not advise, and this is my only caveat. I would not advise Anglophones to take to the streets, and this is why.
Yes.
In my experience, the government has zero tolerance for Anglophone protest, for Anglophone resistance. The level of brutality and high-handedness that the Biya regime is ready to permeate across Anglophone Cameroon is something that they would not readily do in the Francophone side. Let me tell you what happened. This same time in 2018, why this had happened, 79 people had been killed. People have been killed in Anglophone on the same day he was taking over office. You see, so you can have the protests and everything. We still have more than 3,500 Anglophones who are incarcerated. So we know that when it comes to Anglophones, because it's also done with the complacency of Anglophones in the government who are ready to show the Biya regime that they can torture their own people. So, Anglophones, if it comes to passive resistance, where we can sit back home, observe ghost towns, by all means, let's join our hands and do that. But taking to the streets, you are on your own. I am not saying you cannot take to it, but it is not my recommendation that you should do. Because even if you do it peacefully, the fatality of it is almost something that I can assume that will happen to you. So yeah, let you can see the government restrained when it comes to francophones. I am telling you, this is a heartless government, but you can see the restraint because we did not experience half the amount of looting and burning and destruction that is happening. But the human fatality in Anglophone Cameroon was 100 times more than this.
I just want to. I keep telling myself I'm not. Then you're not the one answering this question. So you come ask the question and then you want to answer. I'm just. I'm over the moon right now because of the things you're saying. I'm happy that a lot of people in the comments share your same sentiments. Too many accolades for you. And you said something about the glaring difference in how the military handles both regions, right? The different
Yeah.
sections. And I did post, well, not posting that exactly. I did post a video on the platform where you could clearly see a military acting uncivil You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Being as calm,
Mhm.
like I've never seen that in Cameroon growing up all my
Yes.
life,
Yes.
talking to
Yes.
the youth, and the youths are listening. And I'm
Listening.
asking,
Yes.
why didn't we have this same measure of treatment,
Yes.
this same measure of
Yes.
love, this same measure of education? All my mom
Consideration.
said, yes, nothing.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
So again, when you say that we are tired of being tired, we hear you. We understand that. Like
Yes.
we do understand
Yes.
that. You see.
Yes.
Some persons
Yes.
in the comment, Dicho, hey, Dicho, we see you. Dicho says Grammy and Dr. Ko school final. I enjoy the dexterity in your choice. Just and Dicho, be very
Dito is my
careful.
guy. Dito is my guy.
Yeah,
The thing is, you can see it. What you've just said. See, you just expatiated on this, but you can see even the military, the way they are able to talk. The Rapid Intervention Battalion actually sent out a communique. Can you imagine that? They sent out a communique. They attacked the truck of the captain of the Rapid Intervention Battalion in Garoua. And he came back to talk to the people and said his goal is not to shoot at people, but they should stop shooting, attacking them. I mean, the level of just measure that these people can show, because it is, you see, these are the things that raise the anti French sentiments, like, oh, you guys don't consider, I'm saying more like the government, right? You don't consider us
get
as
that. Yeah.
Cameroonians. That's why you can just take that type of arbitrary actions. And when it comes to this, there is proximity. So you try as much as possible to moderate the way you would act. I can even tell you that Tchiroma was particularly shocked when he was told that two people were killed in front of his house, because he was telling them that stand there, form a barricade. They cannot shoot at you. Yet he says they cannot shoot at. He didn't. He could. Yes. So he knows they will not shoot at because they consider these people as theirs.
Just to
Yeah.
add to what you just said, right? When I played the video, I was like, this might maybe take us to the next thing we'll be talking about. I was like, for the lack of strategy that, in my opinion, I keep saying, not discrediting his push and his movement and every other
Yeah.
thing that he stands for, but I could see a man who was shocked at the fact that they open fire like that, and I'm like, I thought
Yes.
we've been used to opening fire from six people, and this building is all across your space. You should have known
Yeah.
that that building,
And
what
it
it
gave
was
me
built
deja
for.
vu. It gave me a lot of deja vu, because I was like, are you shocked? Are you not the one who told the journalist when he said they were shooting people? He said, how can you say this? Like, are you shocked about this? Are you saying that you really did not understand the brutality of this system?
This from your end, you see what I mean? And that's why
Yes.
I'm really concerned that as much as we clamor for this, as much as we know that this is the person that has shook the foundations of the regime, let's be sure that there's a strategy for this, just so that we do not go
Yes.
and then come back empty hands,
Yes.
and then it feels like we
Yes.
knew that was how it was
What
going to
was,
end. You see
yeah.
what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
again, insisting on the fact that we are not discrediting every work that Issa Tchiroma has put, but just to understand that, yes, this side of these things, we're seeing them more like these are the loopholes and these are the cracks that we see. And if we're talking about these things, we might as well, point towards that. Because again, they listen to us. Make no mistakes about these things. They do listen to us.
Yes.
When they listen, they take heed. They know that, okay, the youths are concerned because, again, we constitute the majority of the population, and our voices are like
Mhm.
born right now. So you see, I mean,
Yeah.
this is your show. You might as well cut me when I'm speaking, please, because I want us to
No,
switch
what you're
different
saying is what
places.
you're saying is so true. Um, we need to, and I think I said this, that we need to understand the tools that he has in his toolbox. It's very important to be able to show clear leadership and strategy, and informed strategy, right? Because people look, I think we were looking at the situation of Tanzania, and some people, I was talking with some friends who were talking to me about Libya and how people took to the streets and all that. And in my mind, it was like, yes, there are similarities in terms of the autocracy, in terms of the dictatorship, but in terms of the willingness to permeate violence, there is nobody that beats the Biya regime. This is a regime that is both an autocracy, it is an oligarchy, it is a necrocracy in one. Autocracy in that one person has absolute power. Oligarchy in that power is in the hands of a small group of people, and necrocracy because we can tell you that if people are 80 years and above, we are being ruled by dead people. So they have nothing to fear. They don't fear death anymore. So you can imagine being in that system. We have seen it. They believe in brute force. I saw Tanzanians run and took siege of the airport. Dare that beside the Douala airport. Dare that. And it will be carnage. It will be carnage. And people know that. It is not because people are spineless. People don't really want to die. This is a country whose GDP per capita is lower in 2025 than it was at its peak in 1986. In 1986, that's when we had our peak in terms of GDP. Transparency International classifies us among the worst, the most corrupt countries. The president of this country in 2018, per the watchdog, they said this president has a record for presidential absenteeism, spending 1,645 days out of the country. That is 4.5 years in Switzerland.
Let's not even get into
So
those details.
so it's crazy. It's crazy. But I am very keen on understanding what is it that Chiroma and his team has as planned. Like you said, what strategies do they have? How sustainable they are? How do they intend to engage the public and not allow this momentum to just wane away, the enthusiasm to die? Because people very soon, if this is not going according to plan, people start saying, but I cannot keep fighting and fighting if I don't know, if there's no clear leadership, no clear strategy, if it's not working. Um, I just believe that he should have a good team that is working with him, and I'm hoping that in the next tomorrow and all that, we are able to see much more direct action, something that calls them to the table. Remember, this ghost town was an effective measure in 1992 when they were fighting for multipartyism. Was 1990 when John was fighting for multipartyism, and the whole country rallied around it. Leadership is important, but one of the things we are facing now, which we did not necessarily face in very high levels, regionalism, tribalism. They have balkanized the country where the South sees themselves as this one sees themselves as this. They try to make this now, as you hear people talking as, I don't eat my pap with corn and not with granite, and all that. They try to make it around this is a northern issue now. When Anglophones came up with that, it was an Anglophone issue. When Canto came, it was a Western issue. They've balkanized the country in such a way. So Chiroma should be fighting to get a united front around the resistance and keep the momentum, because these people they are not backing down anytime soon.
Definitely, they're not backing down anytime soon. And again, just to add to that, the fact that when we go out, we take off these ghost towns and stuff, we sit at home, what next? So the question around the average person's mind, especially the youth, at this point in time, this very crucial point in time, is it is okay for us to have these ghost towns. We are respecting them. We're doing like you have ordered. But then, how does that culminate into you getting to the presidency and
Yes.
becoming president? We having the changes that you promise us. Again, this is not a question for you to answer. It is an open one for
Yeah.
us to talk. Maybe on a different
Absolutely.
sitting. Yes, I mean, we're having more of these conversations. Let me take the comments here. I have Tataboris. Tataboris is saying that after everything, Atanganji will still come and say that people are just under the influence of drugs. I just pray God intervenes. We pray as well. We have Junior Smith. Junior Smith is saying that we know to go school here, bro. Now wait till we grammar. Junior Smith, this is a learning curve for us all, right? So whatever word that Dr. Elonge uses, please take it to Google and do yourself some justice with it. I like to think that we are all learning, and we can. There's no limit to the spaces or places that we can learn from. And we have Mubani. Hello, Mubani. Mubani is another blogger, an influencer as well. He's been out here promoting stuff, Cameroonian stuff. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. He's saying that this is serious. It's good to have you. We have Joseph B. Joseph B. saying that to establish strategies, Chiroma needs to utilize the risk management framework and make the reverse. Risk management framework uncovers likelihood of risk and brings out its mitigations. That's what Biya's advisors are using. Meanwhile, Chiroma needs the anti to risk the management analysis of this country. That's what would work. Just can you kindly break down your comments so that those of us who did not go to school would understand better too? So you're talking about risk management, and I get it is in his field of work and studies. So I get all those words, but kindly, please do break it down, okay? We have Dr. Che. Hey, my doc is in the comment section. It says great analysis. Dr. Che is saying that I can guarantee that we do not know what is in Issa Tchiroma Bakari's toolkit, right? And then there is an African adage that says, if you wake up in the morning and fowl chases you, run, because the fowl might have grown teeth overnight. Issa Tchiroma Bakari has something. How about a fowl that is drunk and is just running around, you think he's chasing? That would be some person's own question. On the other hand, I want us to be as objective with our talks as much as possible. Again, like I said, it's not discrediting, it's just having to touch on these different angles so we are sure that we are actually following the right leaders as it is right now. We have Nubong Severin, El Brasilia. Dr. Chair, I'd love to have more of your comments. Please do that. Severin is Severino. I hope I got your name right. The same. Good evening to you, Ms. Deli and Dr. Elonge. I'm really touched by the points being discussed. So interesting. More praise, Dr. Elonge. So many accolades to you, Doc. I'm happy that so many people are joining. We have You Can Be Anything podcast. Hello, Sissy. How are you? That's also Babes. Also Babes is saying that I wake up every day looking forward to what's next on this plan. Just like myself, I guess I'm one of the few or the many people who check on. Like I just get there. The two platforms is Mimi Mefo and Issa Tchiroma. What's happening? What's going on this sea? I get many people share these sentiments. I have Precious Stone. Precious Stone is saying Cameroon is a movie better than the Game of Thrones. To say me, I'm still waiting for your comments, please. Okay. Now, what I understand, so many people would understand what you said. To establish strategies, utilizing risk management framework, okay, and bring in, which brings mitigation and all of that. Trust me, a lot more persons will need to know what it is you're talking about, and that could be a strategy again that is added to again the toolkit of Issa Tchiroma Bakari, because make no mistakes, they're listening to us. I'd like to take this question again, this comment again. Bali Chamba TV Online is saying, hello Delhi, greetings, congratulations on your beautiful TV network. Greetings to Dr. Elonge. Thank you so much, Bali. We have Joseph B saying that Biya's advisors evaluate the vulnerabilities of their actions and the impact of their actions, and then design their actions. Doctor, I'd like you to comment on this. That's if you get it rightly. So Joseph B is saying that, because he was saying that they should mirror the strategies on both ends, right? So Issa Tchiroma should look at what Biya is doing, and this is what he says as what Biya is doing. Biya's advisors evaluate the vulnerabilities of their actions and the impact of their actions, then design their actions. And then Tchiroma needs to use the anti of the process. If you see what I mean, did you understand what he's saying?
Yeah, I get. Yeah.
You want to change something
but
on that?
I get, and it's a very. I thank you very. First of all, I think that it's a nice perspective. However, I think that it doesn't factor all the it doesn't factor everything that Tchiroma has, the limits of how far he can go. When you're looking to mirror Biya's strategy, you have to look at, let's break it down and see what has been Biya's strategy. It's brute military force and repression. For Chiroma to counter that, will be asking for a civil war, direct confrontation. That's how he will mirror it, which would mean kind of escalating Amber 2.0. That's what he'll be looking at. If he's supposed to enforce Ghost Town, he would have to forcefully get people to, if he has to forcefully get people to respect Ghost Town the way it was done in English and French Cameroon. So it is really like, if you want to mirror the strategies of Paul Biya, then you have to degenerate this into kind of a civil war. And I don't know if anybody is really ready for that. I don't know what he wants to do. Again, I'm still interested to just see what he has as strategy, being that he's been somebody who's been inside the system. I think that he knows how they operate. I think that they are very much predictable in terms of violence, but I want to just see it, because so far, okay, we've seen the ghost town, we've seen the speeches, but I'm really keen on how sustainable that can be. So if the government is not directly touched by this, I don't know if it will be sustainable. I don't know. If we do not have a lot of international pressure on this, then I don't know how. Right now, we are not seeing the type of international coverage on this. There's more coverage on the killing of Christians in Nigeria than there is of the elections that we have here. There is, so I'm trying to see how he can leverage international cloud to draw more attention to this, how he can even keep the enthusiasm and the momentum for this. If it's something that he thinks that it should get into full protest marches and all of that, then let's see how he leads that, how he's able to lead that. It's just, I don't know what the plan is, but I'm very positive that Chiroma has something. That's why I keep pushing and say, let's watch and see. Yes.
Fingers crossed
Fingers
as
crossed.
well.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you, Doc. Too many comments coming in. We have greetings to you all. We need a change. That's Kenny. This is Desiree. Kenny Desiree is saying that greetings to you all. We need a change, and Issa Tchiroma is here to bring this change to us. Let's pray for him. Sikot Johns Judson is saying that you get sense. Again, accolades again to you, Dr. Ilonge. I love that. I hope that I've not missed out on somebody's comments. Please, if you're watching on Dr. Ilonge's platform, that's Auntie Felicia, I guess he's posted on there. Kindly jump in on Delhi TV, and so we can project your comments or we can read your comments, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, so that you're not texting and typing there and thinking, okay, we're ignoring your comments. Please jump on here so we can read your comments. M Fielding is saying that not only could the Taffy move far for day, period. I mean, that's your own stance. You're entitled to it, and it's very okay. We're talking about mirroring Biya's strategy, saying that and get the opposite of that, like you've just said. And the opposite of that would be, again, I see that that's what's already happening. Again, Biya is very silent. We know that, just like Dr. Che was saying the other day, the only times we get to hear is on the 31st of December, maybe on the 19th of May, and then again on the 11th of February and such days.
Yeah.
And the rest of the day, he's
Yes.
silent. And you can't really
in his
determine
last
what's
this
coming
is
next.
last term. In his last term, he did not visit any city in Cameroon. This guy has mastered the art of appearance and disappearance. I just master. What did you try you?
I mean, the comment section now is you guys are hijacking our conversation. Can you kindly just give us a break for 1 second? But Dr. I know you're taking on some of the highlights of the comment, right? Just to key in on them. So that's why I'm reading
Yes.
them. Joseph is saying that again. Biya weighs the vulnerability of his actions, like killing, and then measures the impact, which is likely international criminal court, then designs his mitigation, which is lobbying. Chiroma needs the media on this one. But quite frankly, I would say the media is on Chiroma's side. Even in international media, is on his side. as it is right now. So whatever it is, maybe it's a different strategy, because from what you are saying, and if I understood you, Joseph B, what you're saying, Chiroma at this stage is currently doing that. Except maybe I didn't understand your comments, but again, and he has shed more light on it. The Dr. Longe has shed more light on that. But again, you want to just again expand on that, just so that we might see a different stance on what you're saying. Dr. Chen is saying that Panto silence is deafening. Total silence is deafening. To best understand what Issa Tchiroma is planning, we need to go back to Abubakar Usman May's outing on La Vérité en France, Equinox TV, some weeks ago. All these things are interconnected. How they are connected is what we do not yet know. Again, hopefully that Issa Tchiroma understands that and is speaking all of these aspects that we're listing. Okay, because again, we are the voices, and these voices need to be heard. Rose Elisimo saying that, Elisimo to Marcel is saying that, how can the government be touched when international bodies are working with the crook government? International bodies are making business with the government, so it can't affect them directly. Just to add to what he has said, remember that Issa Tchiroma on the acceptance speech made mention of the fact that he has reached out, his team has reached out to international bodies, and they have asked us to handle our business, in essence. So I think it just ties to the fact that what Bruce is saying, international bodies, well, I wouldn't necessarily say they're working with the regime, but maybe they don't see our case as pressing as we see it. And they think if we are not as concerned with our case as we should be, then they cannot be crying more than the bereaved, if you see what I mean. So, I mean,
Yes.
Adenche is saying the most peaceful strategy is 2 million people power march to A2D. This should be led by the clergy, the leaders, the women, the children, and tailed by the men. Anything less than this will not have any impact to swift change. The people's power is the only power that can destroy instantly any other opposition power from the dictator. History has proven this 101% success. Dr. Longe, what would you say about King Adediche's comment, please? He says that the women, the children, the leaders, the clergy leaders should march to A2D. I'm trying to see the possibility of that, but again, you have a say on this. And then to be tailed by the men. So the men are not taking the lead this time, and they should march to A2D. And it's worked time immemorial. It's worked with different countries. It's worked in history. And he guarantees it's going to give a 101% success. Please, let's have your take on this before we get into all the rest of the comments, please.
Yeah, what he's saying is true historically. That usually when civil rights movements and protests and human rights movements are led by women, then the possibility of action is higher. But also the thing is, it's really to see, you have to have a leader that is able to persuade people to join in that movement. You have to have a leader who is able to persuade people to join that. So that's why I said at this point we are really keen on seeing what is it that Tchiroma plans on doing, how he continues to make sure that people rally around this cause. Is he able to rally women, children, or young people, not children, but women, young people around this to make this protest the type of thing that becomes a national one? That's something that we haven't yet seen. I remember even within the Anglophone crisis, the women had done a march in Biya once. This was led by Dr. Eileen Tabue, and also this lady who used to be Fish's manager, who died with Fish, God rest her soul. They had led an all women protest. That was one of the only protests where the military did not shoot at the protesters, because they were all women. They were all women. So it would be nice to see that. I do know that the women are thinking about their children because of the brutality of the regime. If something happens to them, what becomes of, especially Anglophone women who have seen, who have experienced loss and their lives have been completely eroded. So it's now difficult to see this. But what you need is always that leader, and it must not just be Chiroma. It could be a defiant woman, it could be a Rebecca, it could be a deli singer, it could be, it could be, but you need somebody who people can rally behind, because it will not just happen like that. These things all, they rely a lot on leadership, and women don't protest. I can tell you this might be kind of a gender thing. Women don't protest the way young people, the way men protest. I think women always want structure, they want orderliness and all of that. From my experience in seeing how women coordinate, they don't just go around and, there is always structure, there is real action, there are the women who stripped themselves naked in front of the United Nations to draw attention to the plight in Liberia and all of that. One of the women who led that is now president of Liberia, Ellen Johnson. So it is always strategic. It relies a lot on bold leadership. So again, these are all things that we need to wait and see how this becomes it. And oftentimes, I don't know if we've been provoked enough in Cameroon, because the way we close in on protest, like it's 1-2 days and we completely shut down. I remember even in the US, I received a mail on Saturday and say, "Oh, we'll be protesting in front of the embassy on Sunday." I'm like, what kind of organizing is this? How can you send us mails on Saturday evening? I like the effort, but for crying out loud, you cannot rally people within hours to go and protest in front of the embassy. So again, these things require strategy. They need visionary leadership. They need sacrifice, a lot of sacrifice, and people have to mentally prepare for that type of sacrifice, knowing that I'm going out, I'm going to meet an adversary who is completely unhinged.
What you said about this. You're talking about women leading, standing in front of the protest, and it took me back to Major Fruity days when you remember and recall that he used women to spearhead his rioting, to spearhead his campaigns. They used to call them tapumbirds. And these women were so powerful, more powerful than even the leaders there in the Northwest region, or maybe the both English speaking regions of Cameroon. And now this gets me thinking, because a mother, they're not just standing there as women, but as mothers, and we know understand
Yeah.
the plight of a mother. That they're not just apart from the emotions, they're speaking from their hearts, understanding the gravity of losing
Yeah.
kids that they've nurtured, all of this. Because at the end of the day, like you said, men can be all whatnot, but women have a different strategy which could matter. Again, like we said, the Issa Tchiroma Bakari team, they're listening, okay? And they can pick at least a thing or two from all of this. Enough of the comments. We keep the comments coming, okay? We can read these comments all day. Let me just catch 2 or 3 of these comments. We take them vividly. You're not going to contribute to this because you have loads of questions there for you. Okay, we just wanted to interact with the comment section for a bit. Dr. Che is saying that, okay, let me get back to Joseph B. No, Sikot. Sikot is saying Chiroma's cards are getting exhausted. No forces to enforce lockdown, and so it's off. Protests were supposed to be handled by pressure groups and young radical patriotic youths who give directives, but this revolution depends solely on Chiroma's, which is wrong. If he falls or fails, what happens? Therefore, only a rebel force is the last card he has. If he hasn't got a true loyal armed force, he's finished. And then that's Sikot saying that. It makes sense considerably what you said. Joseph B again says that we cannot rely on any international body based in Cameroon. If any diplomat dares, they will be replaced immediately. Sorry. I was shocked to be informed by a former US ambassador, a client of mine, that any diplomat coming into any country is selected upfront by that country. If they don't need you, you pack and go the very next minute. All these appointments on media by their countries of origins are just a sham. Again, one B is saying that is more or less the same system that puts these same people in place. So there's nothing like diplomatic call. Just like Cow and Abi call on them to, again, do one or two things. But again, your comments kind of points to the fact that it's a waste of time. I hear you. Dr. J is saying that is true. This is why I say his silence is speaking volumes. Kanto is a pillar in Cameroon politics. As smart as he is, he knows what his silence is working. Precious Stone is saying the military is not doing their work as to care for the people. Joseph B again says no diplomat in Cameroon will condemn. Do a check, no one. If he does, they will be replaced instantly because Cameroon decides who stays and who goes. All of these comments, I love that you people are contributing. Again, it is actually Dr. Elonge's place to come again talk about this. I'd love to have more of you come on here. Let's have a panel talk, okay? I'd like to see this conversation morph into something else, not just limited to what we're having in the comment section. Back to you, Dr. Elonge. We have had the government issue strong threats against those involved in this strike. What is the long-term impact? What would you say is the long-term impact on the civil liberties and the future of political dissent in Cameroon? So let's say these strikes, because you've seen us post back to back with every person that matters in Cameroon is speaking at this point in time. She's doctor? She mentioned that the government is not trying to put in fear. They are desperate at this point. Are you of that school of thought? Or you think that these strikes are actually
I think it's both. I think it's
right?
both. I think the threats are a desperate measure. So they want to instill fear, but it's also from desperation. It also shows that all of the criticisms are working. That's why they want it to stop through repression. Nobody will be repressing you or will try to stop you from speaking up if they did not think that it was working against them. So that is why they are doing all of that. It's very predictable because they've always acted in this way. So again, you've seen the slowing down of internet connectivity. You've seen the issuance and the arbitrary arrest of political dissenters and friends and family members of people who dissent. So the arrest of Issa Tchiroma, even his family members. You've seen the escape of Barrister Bala and Michelle Ndoki, who reportedly narrowly escaped arrest from what for really? What for endorsing Chirumba? Because they've really not made any outing that is inciting or anything, But it's just endorsing that, and they understand that. And I can tell you that I am sure that even those of us who primarily speak from the social media, they understand the power that social media has now in terms of creating awareness, in terms of as a rallying tool against, in terms of forming public opinion and all of that. So I know people like Tanji said usually sleep on top of my pitch. If I were to step my feet in Cameroon now, I am sure that I'll be going straight to said or something. So that's what we will be seeing, this kind of repression of people of dissent and people who try to resist this structure that we have. So it's a playbook that we already know. It's not like they are reimagining it. One of the things with dictatorships like this is that they are not very creative. It's not like they because see, there is no concession to even reduce or calm the wave of discontent that people have. There is no level of trying to reach some form of consensus with people, trying to no, they'll go to, they say, if Chiroma says ghost town, what do? It's the same thing they did with the Anglophone Cameroon. The mayor will move from from one shop to another. They will seal it. They will put a fine and tell you you would have to pay 50,000 francs before you open, or they will close your shop for 2 weeks, and that they will provide petrol to bike riders and to taxi drivers. They will do all of these things. They will arrest people. They will start checking ID cards and arresting young people arbitrarily. They will break into people's houses, pick up young people that they think in areas that they think that they are pro Chiroma, and start locking them up to instill fear, not only in the people that they've arrested arbitrarily, but in other people who could even think of protesting. So it's the same thing across the board. It is what they've done time immemorial. There is nothing new when it comes to how they use violence. So it's the same thing. The government relies on brute force. It doesn't rely. Look at the person who has become the poster boy of government outings, Atanganji. In jail. No other person, no other person actually is more unfit to be the face of talking about of negotiating with the public than this, because he relies purely on threats. Rene Sadi should have done his job, right? When Issa Tchiroma was talking, Issa Tchiroma will even provoke us, but will not threaten us.
Exactly. I mean, at some point, I had to ask who is the communication minister in Cameroon at this point in time. Because not just
Yeah.
acting as, the prime minister is acting as the prime minister, territorial administration minister, and then the communication minister, and then, oh my God.
But let me just say this. There is one thing which is clear when you see the outings of our politicians and
Right.
our leaders, is that they have no sense of accountability, and they do not think that they are answerable to the people that they govern. And
Right.
when your leaders don't fear the people that they govern, that's a very bad thing. That's a
Indeed.
very bad thing.
Indeed.
There has to be a healthy amount of fear in the people who lead, who think that they are accountable, who think that they have to respond to, why do I think that 49 people have so far died? Why do I have to make sure? If people don't think that they're answerable to that, if they can instead come and
Who
say, if you
died?
step out, I kill you, and then there is no healthy fear again. That is how autocracies are run. That's how they are run. So they will do everything to preserve that. Trust me, they think they are answerable to just one person and one person only. And people don't get this. To be a dictator, it is not just the Paul Biya who is a dictator. It is also the people who belong to the dictatorial mindset. It is young people who support the CPDM and the Biya regime, who think that by supporting the Biya regime, maybe because of proximity, because of this, they acknowledge that they are also under repression, but they cannot be satisfied until they see every other person under subjugated to that very kind of repression. That's
Exactly.
how
Exactly.
autocracies work. So all the Anglophone leadership, they are not at peace. You cannot tell me that a person like the Bafor chief Ekoko, who is a brilliant man, would really want to work under this system. It's impossible. It's inconceivable. All of these people, most of them studied in Europe and Northern America, enjoyed the freedoms that have been fought for in these countries. Even at this time, they come for the healthcare, come from the leisure, all of them in this country. Biya has never once been treated in Cameroon. None of his ministers, they come here, which means that they understand how a real country is supposed to be run. But because they belong to the dictatorial mindset, they are satisfied with the subjugation of the rest of the population, if that will make them look like leaders.
Session is going. We're about to get into the inauguration of the president elect. As per the Constitutional Council, I have to add that by the time before the comment section will burst out on me here. Okay, we want to touch on that, but before then, please let's have a few of the comments again. Sikot Johnson is saying that Auntie Felicia and Delhi, thank you guys for beginning to speak out. The involvement of the media giants is the beginning of the change that La République du Cameroon needs. Even of Chiroma Even if Chiruma doesn't become president, things will never be the same after Biya. Auntie Felicia, I hope you know you have joined us Amazonian activists on exile as Cameroonians.
And
So
I
we
should
needed
say this:
that
there
laugh
is
at this
something,
point.
Mommy
Okay?
Daly. I should say this. I never respond to this thing, but I've seen repeatedly people saying, "Oh, I must be using my stance to seek asylum in America." Please, oh, I'm not using it to seek asylum. Let me just make it very clear to you people, like this, those who want to think that I am a permanent resident here without asylum. I don't need it.
Just for footnotes and top notes on that. Because we have been so laid back. You see where this is coming from? Why not get his concerns and why he's saying all of this? It's coming from the fact that youths for a long time have not been involved in such things. We
Yeah,
have been so
yeah,
laid back as far as political talks are concerned, the issues regarding our country is concerned. So when you see somebody speaking out, and given the way the regime is structured and set up, you know that you're either
yeah,
speaking from, hiding, and especially if you're using your face, then you've sought asylum somewhere and you
yeah,
have no plans or intentions
yes,
of going back. See, you see, this
yeah.
is a potential minister of communication in Cameroon, just so we know. So there's no how. See, this regime is passing by, and there's going to
And
be
then
a
there is the it's a circular argument because I see some people say, oh, we speak on our platforms because we're in a foreign country where we are assured of our freedoms. That's exactly the point. We don't have to even speak because we have the comforts of this place. So,
why
but
are we
why are we
speaking?
speaking?
Why are we
Why
speaking
are
when
we
we are not
speaking?
going
For
back
love
to
of
Cameroon?
country, for the
Exactly.
hatred of repression, and knowing
Yeah.
that we cannot face the consequence. These people cannot come to us with the kind of brutality that they will come. Then we speak up. We speak up because we
Yes.
know that who will speak up for the rest, for everybody. So it is nice to see somebody who is within the country speak up, but because we know that we have these platforms, we speak up. You are saying you want the international community to speak up. They are not in that country. We are close. We are very close to that international community in many ways. So we have to make that voice heard. We are amplifying the voices, and we are amplifying it from a safe space. We do not deny. But that's exactly the point. That if we were in Cameroon, we would have been in prison now. And you cannot speak up in Cameroon because you know that you potentially be in prison. So what's the point? That we should rather not speak up?
And have patriotic voices like yours are. You have nothing to lose at this point in time. You're not seeking
Yes.
for stay. You have a stay. You could just stay silent and just be like, you know what, this is about me. Somebody said
Yeah.
yesterday, I had a brief live and I was talking with my delicious, and this came up as well. And we're talking about IDP. So they said they're IDPs, and I was like, I'm EDP. They said, oh, we're internally displaced. I said, I'm externally displaced. Because the Cameroon problem is one. Let's understand this.
Yes.
We don't sit
Yes.
abroad because we want to be abroad. I love Cameroon to the core. We want to be in Cameroon and speak like
Yeah.
we're doing. But then we did not have all of what we needed. So we had to look for alternatives. So no, make no mistakes. We want to be in Cameroon and speak like this. But how
Yeah.
possible is that? That's what Dr. Elonga
It
is
is.
saying. So no, you should
And,
rather
and, and
applaud somebody who has everything going for him and still
yes. And tell
decide to speak for
I should
those you know.
speak. Yes. Yes. And I should tell you
Exactly.
something. The statistics, when people say this, Cameroon is among the top 5 countries and the only African countries that has a high favorable rate for America in America for granting of asylum, which, which means that it's among the top 5 countries that the citizens from those countries readily get asylum, which means that the American or the US immigration system understands the country conditions under which Cameroonians live. That's why they
I need
readily
it.
grant asylum to Cameroon. Is among the top 5 countries, and no African country is there. No African country is there. I used to say that we understand the level of poverty and deprivation and exclusion that is in that country. If we as Cameroonians, we travel and go to a country like Rwanda, we would understand, because sometimes when we are inside the same country where we are being persecuted, we don't really understand what true freedom really means. And Rwanda is kind of a pseudo dictatorship. But then the amount of freedom that you experience even as an immigrant in Rwanda is something you can only dream. As they say, we are fifth class in our own country. Foreigners are treated better than us in Cameroon. They're treated better than us in Cameroon. So,
Sadly,
so,
that
so, so imagine that your country is a country that when you leave and come to a freer country, they readily would absorb you into that country because they understand what you are going through in your own country. For crying out loud, it is sickening. It is sickening. That's not how a country should run. And if Delhi, who has been in the UK for this long and has traveled to many other places and sees the potential that Cameroon has. I was traveling the whole of East Africa, gone to different countries. I was in Rwanda. Rwanda is 4 provinces, small country, has gone through a genocide that ended in 1997. And then how many years back, that country is a cashless society. Security is the second cleanest country in the world. Insecurity is at its lowest. And almost all the matrices for development work for that country. Go to Botswana, go to even Kenya, and see what is happening there. And Rwanda does not have half the resources that Cameroon has. I remember a friend in Rwanda telling me we should go and look at a lake, to go and visit a lake. Went to visit a lake. So on Dotty Lake, like it was a pride. You need to see the development that are taking place. Someone will say, "Whoa, go look hospital. They chop and for Tom beside it." The other person just will go look and like tourism. I was like, the level of potential that Cameroon has, but that has been completely wiped out, destroyed, constantly being eroded by the policies and lack of policies by the regime. Asa.
I can tell you. We can lament like this all day, Dr. Olonge, but I know that we share these sentiments with every, like I said, the average Cameroonian right now. So this is not about the division we have as Cameroonians. This is about a common problem that we all face. So everything he's explained as a Cameroonian is very relatable. I want to talk about Africa at large, but let's start with home. We have Rose again. Rose is saying, Moto is saying that in Trump regime, my brothers and sisters, there's no permanent residence. It happens to Wole Soyinka of Nigeria, though it's a political thing, but you can't believe or understand Trump administration, my people. Again, says that anything that does not go the regime way, automatically you are an enemy, stupid regime and stuff. My dad is a Senate. This is from Joseph B. Third vice president, but he does not know how to manipulate an Android phone. Interesting. When I read Rene Sadi, I feel some respect in his words, and even my thoughts get diluted. But when I hear Atang and G, my adrenaline triples. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's about time for us to have a quick break, okay? We've been having these many comments. We've been talking to the very enlightened Dr. Longe. He's going to come back. When he comes back, we will be talking about the inauguration of the president-elect as per the Constitutional Council tomorrow. His thoughts about it, what he thinks, your thoughts as well. Please share this video if you have not shared. I'd like to think you've shared. Share this video to as many groups as possible. Tag your friends to come and join the conversation. Share your thoughts, your sentiments, okay? When we come back, we'll take on that. Don't go nowhere.
With MoneyFX, sending money home just got faster. Enjoy top exchange rates, low fees, and transfers that land in under 10 minutes. Whether it's school fees in Cameroon, hospital bills in Nigeria, or family support in Ghana, MoneyFX makes every transfer count. MoneyFX, fast money transfer when it matters most.
What else people don't take those like that?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for staying with us up to this moment. Well, I would like to call this part the segment, the part two of our conversation. We'll be hearing from Dr. Elonge his initial thoughts around the inauguration tomorrow. Dr. Elonge, they've insisted on inaugurating, I mean, we were hoping that the results will not be read like it was. After it was read, they continued live. And then we're getting to celebration of CPDM where the CPDM militants are saying, you know what, you either join us or you hawk a transformer by the side. And then tomorrow it's going to, because they say it's a twin event, we're having the president-elect as per the Constitutional Council and elect say they are inaugurating the incumbent, now the president-elect. What are your initial sentiments around this, about this?
I think we've had one person to the power standoff that we always have. I remember there was a time when it was Paul Biya will give his speech, Kamto will give his, and then it was it Chris Ann that will give his or so. So now we've added Tchiroma. You would see a power standoff. I'm sure that somehow Tchiroma will be having his own inauguration. Somehow they'll be having something. Um, it's really sad
Great.
because, like I said, this is something. This is something that is just
Okay.
it's
Go
just
ahead.
it's just within a circle of people, the CPDM elite. um I mean, the inauguration of a president is supposed to be a rallying moment for the country.
Nation,
People have to
yeah.
feel a sense of pride that the president carries the hopes and aspirations of the people. It's a moment of jubilation. In Cameroon, is a time of militarization of cities and the intimidation of ordinary people, because nobody has that feeling of joy. There is no celebration, there is no happiness. The CPDM would call for its militants or some people who are hungry, people whom they have made hungry, and give 1,000 francs and buy drinks for them to celebrate. But there's really no celebration. So there is no sense of. Yesterday, I was watching the elections here for mayor for New York, and you had three candidates. One person wins, but the sense of celebration around,
Yeah.
that this person carries your dream, carries your aspirations. You can hope, there's promise that the person is made for change, and you are hoping that there is change. Really, what is it that anyone is looking forward to in this new term for Paul Biya? Nothing. Paul Biya, when he was being inaugurated in 2018, he what he did was to talk about the fact he put a unity pledge that the country has to come together, and he said they have to fight against war entrepreneurs. Right, right now, the country has further disintegrated. It has disintegrated more because of the actions of him and his government. This election is stolen, and so people do not see themselves like they've vested power in him. There is no joy, there is no jubilation, there is no. I don't know why this guy cannot just have some kind of dignity, him and his people. And I always say this, like, are they saying the CPDM itself does not even have the internal dynamism to be able to have a fresher candidate, that you must all rally behind this hologram of a president and say that this is our only choice that we have? For crying out loud, how can people be this wicked? That this is a country which has the world's youngest population and has to deal with the world's oldest president. And this is not an exaggeration. He is completely
Sad
out
as
of
that
touch.
sounds,
The politicians,
irony of that.
the lead politicians in the country, the Speaker of the House, the Speaker of the Senate, the head of the Constitutional Council, the President of the Republic, they have more in common with the grave than they have with the people who are living. So I don't understand how we can be jubilating. And again, I'm asking the question, and I don't know how to ask this question. God, you dey fear Biya? Ah,
You said something at the start of this the talks on the inauguration of the president, and you said years back we had these different persons giving granting speeches left, right, center, and it looks more like the comedy setup, you know. And but again,
Yeah.
it's more like a replay of history because news in the air has it that Tapang Ivo, I did hear from Tapang Ivo, he was clearly stating that there's going to be an inauguration of Tchiroma, and so to
It's always
him,
a power
it's
standoff with
authentic
this.
information.
Yes, it's always a power stand. I don't know how authentic it is, but this is what happened in 2018. In fact, it happened for a long time. Kamto would probably will even be doing his address of the nation, and Kamto will be addressing the nation too. And
It's
then
like
the Amazonian leader will be addressing the nation. You don't even know who to listen to. Like it's the same thing repeating itself. Like just crazy. The thing is, I can tell you that maybe Kamto's victory over Paul Biya in 2018 was not obvious. This was very obvious. It was because in 2018 they gave Biya 71% of the votes. For them to be so humble as to give him 53% of the votes this time shows you that it
it's
was
very
landmark
yeah.
crushing, landslide crushing. Yes, it's crazy. See, Delhi, it's sickening because we have become the laughing stock of the world. I sit with my friends from Nigeria, from different countries, and it's almost indefensible because you don't know what to do. The question I always asked is, are you saying a country of 30 plus million people cannot take off a 92-year-old from power? And I said, you really do not understand the machinery of this kind of entrenched dictatorship. This guy has mastered the Machiavellian art of dictatorship to the level where he is a master. I don't think that they've had anybody in the world because we are talking about a leader who will be there, who is not a monarch, but who insists on being in power for 50 years. Nowhere else is this possible. Nowhere else. And then his counterpart in whether it's Equatorial Guinea is congratulating him because I don't know what is wrong with Africa and its leaders. It's crazy. So to the bottom line is there is really not a feeling of joy. There is not a feeling of hope in people. It is business and as usual. It is the same bad policing. It is the same corruption we are waiting. We will continue facing. It is the same thing again for the next 7 years that we'll have to face. That's why I tell people that we need to stand up. We don't need to leave this fight hanging now. And it's not standing up in just saying stand up and protest. There are ways which I can tell you. For me, the number one thing that we should be laser focused on, beyond following what Chiroma is doing, is laser focused on the municipal and legislative elections. And I'm sure that we might have the opportunity to
My
talk
God.
about that.
I was just, you're just taking that out of me. So I was now saying that with all of how corrupt the regime is, remember we've said from the head to the tail, we have the regime, we have the grip of the regime. Now, are you, in essence,
Yes.
saying that this now discourages the youth and some of us who are interested in looking at other avenues, not just because the youth are just stepping up to talk about presidential elections, and this is the list
Yeah.
of the power that we as youth have. I love that we're having this conversation. Let's talk about the municipal
Mhm.
and the legislative elections, the parliamentary elections in Cameroon that the youth don't have. We would take that's the power starts from there. Let me put it like that. But then
Yes.
we have no say. We have zero knowledge on what's happening. Please, may you, in your big brains, use this opportunity to school a lot of them listening the significance of being part and participating in these local elections before we start talking about changing at the top. When we can do that at the grassroots, please.
You see, excellent question, Mommy Deli. The most significant elections that we have in Cameroon are the municipal and parliamentary elections, especially the municipal elections. I'll tell you why. First of all, whoever runs the councils runs the Senate. So and the regional
Please,
house.
we had a glitch there. Please take that back. Take it
Okay,
again, please.
whoever runs the municipal council. So those who run the municipal council, they own the Senate. They have control over the Senate because the municipal councillors vote for the senators. The
Yes.
senators are not voted by everybody, just by the councillors, the people who have invested power in at the municipal level. So if we continue having CPDM mayors and councils that are run by CPDM, then they would have control over the Senate. The truth is, the real change will always come only from the bottom line, because even if somehow Tchiroma were to take power in that country, the CPDM will still retain absolute power, because the CPDM will still control the Senate, the Parliament, and the municipal councils and the regional houses. So it will be like he will be like a rubber stamp in that sense, unless he becomes a dictator too. So I've always told people, and the only elections where you can actually win without it getting rigged are the municipal and council elections, because they are local elections. The people who are running for those elections are people who live in that place. They know the people there. They know everything, which means that they don't need a national machinery to have people. Okay, if I'm running, let's say you and I, we are running in Boya, right? We are running in Boya. You are running, say, let me not put you CPDM. Let me put myself CPDM because God forbid that you are CPDM. Let me put you MRC, Maurice Kamto, and I am CPDM, right? Now, in the presidential elections, me as a CPDM person has no stake. I just need Paul Biya to win. You have no stake in it too. You really don't care. It is some other person who is running for that council. The people in that environment do not even know perhaps Maurice Kamto that well. So what happens is, in the municipal elections, that's why it's only in the municipal elections where you see opposition parties thrive, because in that area, even your CPTM party militant might have his brother running for. See, let me give you this. My father was parliamentarian for UNDP, and my aunt was running for mayor of SDF in Kumba for Kumba 3, right? And I'm in Eleka. So my dad had left parliament, but he had been militating with UNDP. Then he crossed carpet from UNDP to CPDM. Because let me tell you why my dad crossed carpet. This is an interesting thing. It's just a quick one, but this is personal. My dad crossed carpet because he was a parliamentarian, but he opposed the constitutional amendment that allowed for Paul Biya to run forever. When he opposed it, they blocked all of his documents in Yaoundé and declared that he had died. So all of his advantages that he was supposed to get, he could not get. He was alive. They were seeing him, but they said he had died, so he could not get any of the benefits that he was supposed to get. My dad was Secretary General of the UNDP, which means he was second in command in the UNDP. And then he was parliamentarian. He had been delegate of education. He had been all of that, which means that you could not ignore him. All of these people, Mafani and all these people, were his peers. But somehow they said he was dead. They were seeing him, but they could not move him from dead to alive from his documents. And so after he had suffered for over 8 years with no salary, nothing, he decided that he will move to CPDM. He finally gave up. Immediately he moved to CPDM. They appointed him president of Soweto, and gave him all of his arrears. All of his areas. So in my father's blood, he did not have CPDM, right? But he went in there because the situation is critical. So now, what happened was, my aunt now was running for mayor of Kumba 3. My dad is CPDM now, but my aunt is running for mayor. Do you think my dad will go and vote for the CPDM candidate there? Though he's CPGM, when his sister is running. So that's the interesting thing about the municipal elections. They are so local and so interpersonal that it is difficult. Even the people we put at the polling stations, yeah, even the people we put at the polling station at this time, you can take your own family members and put at a polling station that you represent me for my party. So nobody can steal the vote. And then the other additional thing is those elections are known on the same day. They are not waiting for 2 weeks for elections to be known. They are known on the same day. The results are declared. When you get to a police station, they send to the commission. The commission has at most 3 days, but usually you know all of the results there on the same day. You would know because it's just a few polling stations that you have to get results from, and you can secure it. People can stay there and secure it. The strategy, however, for the opposition is to make sure, and I give it to them for free. Take your members who are really militant. Take them, say you are in Bonghe. Take these, your militants, carry them in a bus. Take them to register in those villages where they can read. Let them go and register there. You are free to register anywhere. Let them go and register there. On the day before elections, you take them back to those villages to vote because you can move to go and vote. Put them at those polling stations and make sure that no rigging is taking place. They would be there to secure the vote. That is free advice. That is how rigging is. Rigging takes place where the representatives of voters are not available. So we have a chance of overturning, and this is it. The advantage of overturning the municipal councils, if we have them, is because then the opposition party has power and control over the electoral system in that area. Because these people use government resources to rig elections. For a very long time, the CPDM party was not contesting, like it really was not contesting in Kumba 2 subdivision. Why? Because the younger people will never go and vote for CPDM. And CPDM could not rig the elections in Kumba 2. Those boys will stand there and they have taken whiskey and all these hard things and they are waiting for you to come and read. So you cannot. These are local elections function. People are there to protect the vote. So this is what people have to do. If you want to run for the municipal elections, you're running for the parliamentary elections. I remember for the municipal parliamentary elections, there are 2 representatives per party, not just one. In that polling station, there are 2 per party, one for the legislative, one for the municipal. So you have to drive 2 people at the same time across all political parties. So it is tougher to do that. You just need one straight person in the polling station. So if you take your militants who are really militants and take them to the rural areas, because in the urban areas, who will secure our votes? Who will secure our votes? You saw what happened in Fako, they could not read. But in the villages, they will read the election. So that is where the fight is. And that's where you should take it. Take people, bus loads of people there to register. You have the right to do that. Register and secure the votes. In fact, the wildest of the wildest that you can find of your boys that you have, you take them there. That's what you need to do.
This thing down, and it's so beautiful and very relatable. It has been my heart's cry to get the youth to understand this, to be broken down to them as to the basic minimum, like you have done. You sadly, like I said, the regime in itself has its part to play as to why youths are not getting involved in politics. They're not active. They don't even know what's happening.
Yes.
Each time I've had the opportunity to travel down to Cameroon, I've tried to just have this conversation around like what are you people doing? The most they know is Biya, it ends there.
Mhm.
Senate,
Mhm.
how many seats? As basic, they don't know how many CPTM, how many political parties are there represented? What political party are you clamoring for? Oh, we know SDF. How many seats are there represented when they don't know? How can you get into that system? Oh, Bina has rigged everything. You see the mindset of the
Yeah.
people, like I said, partly plagued by the regime, is actually very concerning. And as a youth,
And
because again,
and
that's my first.
I should tell you this. The regime bangs on youth apathy
Exactly.
especially.
Yes.
So you see, like what has happened in the presidential elections, where they've rigged the elections and so in many ways stolen the voices of young people. The effect is young people become despondent and don't want to partake in this. They just give up, and that is what the regime is banking on. It is that
Exactly.
giving up. Yes, they want you to give up. They don't want you to be engaged, to be politically engaged. People don't realize this. when I mean, I have a whole plan now of how we have to engage. I plan on making sure that we can use entertainers, and partner with Elecam to register young people. So we say, okay, we are having a music concert, free music concert in Biya, and Elecam teams are standing there, 10 computers, and they are registering people on the spot. And that is what we have to do to get young people to register. We will do that. We will do just those activities that would attract the young people to register. And trust me, that mayor of Biya, that lackluster human being in Biya, that parliamentarian of Biya, that disappointment to youth everywhere, they would not want that. They don't like that because they know that young people are so dynamic, they would never vote for them. They will never vote
Exactly.
for them. It is a shame. It is always a disgrace when I see a young person like the one who is the parliamentarian of Biya and the one who was organizing you to march for peace. After an elections, you're calling for you to march for peace. Why would people who vote for a president like that want to march for peace? What is so annoying to them if they voted CPDM? That guy is a failure upon failure in spite of his failures.
Heartening, to say the least. These are the people who really discourage, okay? Like you said, at the local level, we know who is who. So we can vouch for
Yes.
them. We can say we know this person has a considerable level of integrity, so we can. And then we get to the level where we put our trust on this person, knowing that you're going there to represent the people. You know what we're dealing with. Biya cannot know what you're dealing. The price of Sabon is
Yes.
inconsequential to Biya. Now you are the ones
Yes.
living with the masses. You understand the plight of the people. Matter of fact, it is your reality, and it's very relatable to you. So we will delegate one person or two at that level to go there and represent. And then they come up with what you see. You see, I'm already very pissed off right now. Then
Yeah.
the end result is the regime. It's like an injection into the like an opium. I'm trying to get the right
Yeah.
words. You see,
It's a cult.
but
It's a
then, like
cult.
you said,
Yeah.
the government thrives on the youth apathy. As far as
Yeah.
you cannot not vote, and you insist, and you ask, you demand change. You can't sit and fold your arms and you ask and you question the system in place because you did not put them there. So you don't even have rights to. So when we're having this conversation, the youth should understand that we're trying to get them to have a change of mind regarding the system.
Yeah.
Not that these things we're saying necessarily changes the reason, it doesn't. But we're saying there is a particular role we can play, and there is a place where change really matters and our voices will really count. And this is where we're
Yeah.
talking about parliamentary, elections. So please do not just
Because
say,
if you
yeah,
have a parliamentary system where the opposition leads, outnumbers the CPDM, then you can have a change of most of the things that have been you can have presidential term limits reinstituted. You can have all of this. I should tell you these municipal and parliamentary elections. You see, what the government did was the government would put the senatorial elections ahead of the municipal and parliamentary elections because they are afraid that if they follow the calendar where the municipal elections are supposed to be before the senatorial elections and the opposition wins the municipal councils, then their control of parliament could either be weakened or they could even lose control of it. So that's why they are doing it. So we really need to vote. The thing is, people need to come out. I even tell people, see, you see, in these elections, in the counter elections, people are not really as spirited as they are in this one. Why? We actually turned out and vote, and they really needed to have rigged the elections. They needed to rig it. We did not make it easy for them to rig. We did not. Can you imagine Biya winning by 53 votes, saying Biya winning by 53? It has never happened. It has never. They can never be that humble to say that he barely won by 53 votes. No, but we made it so difficult for them. So in the municipal elections, especially in the northwest and southwest, because that's now clearly their basket for election rigging and just election genocide, because they are just killing killing the electoral process. We need to stand up stronger. Yep.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Dr. Elonge, I think we have a glitch there. Some persons in the comment section are complaining that there's been a network issue or something. Let me just be sure. If you can hear us, please indicate in the comment section, okay? Can you hear us? Those of you listening, can you hear us? No. The live show seems to have ended.
Yes. Yeah. The video has ended.
It's ended. They said, what happened?
Who's
What
that?
happened?
Producer?
With MoneyFX, sending money home just got faster. Enjoy top exchange rates, low fees, and transfers that land in under 10 minutes. Whether it's school fees in Cameroon, hospital bills in Nigeria, or family support in Ghana, MoneyFX makes every transfer count. MoneyFX, fast money transfer when it matters most. With MoneyFX, sending money home just got faster. Enjoy top exchange rates, low fees, and transfers that land in under 10 minutes. Whether it's school fees in Cameroon, hospital bills in Nigeria, or family support in Ghana, MoneyFX makes every transfer count. MoneyFX, fast money transfer when it matters most. With MoneyFX, sending money home just got faster. Enjoy top exchange rates, low fees, and transfers that land in under 10 minutes. Whether it's school fees in Cameroon, hospital bills in Nigeria, or family support in Ghana, MoneyFX makes every transfer count. MoneyFX, fast money transfer when it matters most. With MoneyFX, sending money home just got faster. Enjoy top exchange rates, low fees, and transfers that land in under 10 minutes. Whether it's school fees in Cameroon, hospital bills in Nigeria, or family support in Ghana, MoneyFX makes every transfer count. MoneyFX, fast money transfer when it matters most.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to apologize for the glitch there. Sadly, it went unnoticed we've started receiving some comments. We do apologize for that. Well, before that glitch, we were talking to Dr. Elonge, and he was on about the local elections in Cameroon where the youths are meant to be part of. And he calls on us, the youths, those of you listening, to spread the news, to know that the presidential elections in Cameroon, that is just a glimpse of the main deal. But what directly concerns you and I, would love to talk about the parliamentary elections. And if you would take heed, start getting active and participating in this, just so that you can call the shots, because that's what truly matters at the end of the day. If Dr. Elonga is there, please can you join me on screen again and let's round up with this conversation. It's getting really interesting. And I mean, we've had an amazing session with you. Of course, we could not exhaust all of what we were meant to talk on. So we are hoping, and
Yes.
this is yet an open invitation for you to come again and let's keep dissecting these things bit by bit. And one day at a time, our voices would echo as loud as they have to. Coming back to the international organizations on stars, we already made mention that the international organization is really not very keen on what's happening, okay, because again, quote
Yeah.
unquote, we have to follow finish at fufu like that. Talking about national heroes, we've hardly heard from any of them. The likes of Samuel Etofis Nganu, who has been highly criticized in the media. Nganu came out and just posted a flag. I thought that was the height of hypocrisy or timidity, given the system you're coming from. So you want to be, I didn't say, I said something without saying something. That would be Nganu, actions. Samuel Etofis came out to say a bird came to his window and did whatever, whatever. Man, these are the top influencers in Cameroon, if I can put it like that. And they've been silenced. What would you say about their silence? What does this imply? And especially given they are in a very strategic position that the youths actually look up to them, and especially in times like this.
I mean, it is cowardice. I don't think there are two ways to describe it. It's cowardice, and I would like to dissect these two people. Just dissect these two people. Um, Particularly Ngano, I am particularly disappointed in him, mostly because Ngano as a person actually went through so much to become what he is as a result of the failures of the Biya regime. Remember, Ngano is one of those people who actually had to travel by road and sea and land to run from the difficulties and the pain and everything that the Biya regime has done that has destroyed Cameroon. He is a product of resilience, of fighting, of succeeding in spite of.
Yes.
Yes. And yesterday Jake the boxer, his Jake Paul, actually they had a banter, and Jake Paul told him that you act so brave and all of this and all the bravado and everything, but you're unable to defend the youth of your own country. That tweet has over 30 million, views and likes and comments and what. It's really embarrassing. We do not have anybody. We are talking about international organizations and international press and everything. One of the things I've noticed with a lot of civil rights and human rights movements that have been able to get on the global stage has been done mostly by the the elite who have had international clout. So I remember when we had the NSAS campaign, how Nigerian entertainers, I would see files on CNN, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, everybody who had attained some form of international recognition spoke up. Also, because I think that a lot of the people in other countries who have attained that level are not compromised politically. I think that's the biggest thing. And with us here, I mean, Ngannou literally killed somebody, and the only reason why he's not been taken to prison or faced any kind of real consequence is because of the protection he's getting probably from the system. So I can understand why he would not talk. I can understand. I don't condone. I understand. I don't condone what he's doing, but it's embarrassing. Eto happens to be the biggest hero of Cameroon in Cameroon, especially when it comes to the young people. But Eto has not been silent. Eto endorsed Pobia. It endorsed Pobia. So it
because we are talking about the silence after the election, so I said
After,
to
yeah.
let's have that conversation first. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's been silent on that, but he has generally been silent on anything that has to do with civil liberties and all of that. It's not new. It's the same thing, but let me also extend it even to entertainers, because this is our own field where a lot of entertainers have been heavily compromised. I can tell you this as somebody who left Cameroon only this year, that I know that a lot of entertainers who would have added their voice to make things a lot more louder cannot do it because they dine and wine with CPGM politicians. I know of particular CPGM politicians in Douala who organize parties, and these are the festive grounds of a lot of musicians, especially. And so it is impossible for them to speak up because you really have to have table manners. You cannot bite the figures that feed you. That's it. We know of artists who are being sponsored by people like Chantal Biya. You don't expect this type of artists to come up and speak up because they've sold out. I remember for the longest time, I not wanting to perform for any political thing. I consistently refused. In fact, there was a rally here, which was a political rally for an opposition party candidate, whom I was called, and I refused because at the time I wasn't partaking in partisan thing. But not to talk of CPDM. See, I think that this thing of you remember I said something about there is an ethical vacuum in our country. It is that you don't know whether anybody has any value system where you can say that, okay, yes, I am an artist, but there is a limit to which I can find myself associated with these people, because these people are not just working for us. They are not just doing like I don't understand. I remember there's a story which I don't know if I'm permitted to share, but I'll probably not call names and share this story. There is an artist whose father died because a ghost town was declared at the heart of the Anglophone crisis. A 10 days ghost town, and the father got a stroke, and the father died in Kumba. And because they could not access the hospital and everything. And when that artist came here, he was driven to the person who declared, the Amazonian leader who declared that ghost town, to his house. He wasn't told that he would be meeting this leader. Once he got there and saw that it was this guy, he said he's not going there. He will not step foot out of that car. He will not go. Right? It is not my place to tell the story. That's why I'm not calling his name. But that's what I'm talking about, integrity. You cannot wine and dine with the same people that you claim who have caused you pain. In that case, his father had died because of this. So if you wine and dine with them, you cannot at the same time come up and champion some kind of cause. That's double speak. So they cannot do it. If I were corrupt in Elekam, I cannot stand here and talk about it because people will come up with the receipts.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If I have been dining with politicians, people will bring the pictures and the support they've been giving me, they will bring it here. But it is not doing elections that we get outraged about politicians. It is not doing elections. It is the actions even before that. How provide validation to them. How provide support to them. How we say that, oh, how are we able to compartmentalize ourselves and say it is okay to go and perform for an Atanganji and come back and still say that you want a country that has growth? How do you compartmentalize yourself like that? So that's my problem. It's like there is this ethical dilemma that I don't get. People don't get upset or angry on only when elections are taking place or this or no. It is something that you have to breathe throughout. Like as an artist, I don't see a possibility. I have known of artists who have cancelled event whole concerts in because they were fighting for women rights and they refused to go to the Arab world in Saudi Arabia when women were refused the right to drive, despite the fact that they were being paid millions of dollars. They did not wait for a woman to be killed to say that, oh, women's rights. So you cannot, before an elections and every other time, hang out, just do your freak offs with these politicians And then you can never have the authority to talk to anybody. You cannot have. You do photo ops with them. For crying out loud. If you go and you're standing with these ministers and these politicians, you're drinking with them, doing photos and everything, and then you come afterwards, what can you really say? You have provided endorsement to them. You are endorsing them. If we are all outraged by it, let's not go and perform for them. Let their occasions be funerals. We cannot keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. No, we have to ostracize them. I have a lot of politician friends who I'm not talking to. I have a lot of friends who are in the CPDM that I'm not talking to now. Because I don't understand how I can be a Cheruma or what supporter, and then you are pro Biya and we are cool. We cannot be cool. That is not a difference of opinion. No, you are a fundamental threat to my life. It's not a difference of opinion. After 43 years
And
of
you should
Biya
understand
running this
that.
country, yes.
Yes.
So it is
Yeah.
really difficult. People are talking about the only civility I can show you is to not talk to you because I
Yeah.
could do worse. So I don't
Yeah.
understand how you, as an entertainer, would whine with the platform that you have. You whine and dine with these people, provide endorsement to them because that's endorsement. You're
Indeed.
saying this person
Indeed.
is cool.
Sometimes, let me just add, just to add to what you're saying. It is one thing to be a friend of a Longe who is a CPTN person, right? Prior to the elections, and like I said, the youths were not very informed about so many things that were happening. And we cannot see through these cracks like that. You see what I mean? So it's okay to be friends with a Stanley Eno and a Salatiel, for instance. And then, but when the people rally their voices to speak would matter, and you're silent about it or you're trying to play it both ways, it is very telling at that point, you see. Because at the end of the day, people just, after the elections, people just keep going about their lives, especially if you're not politically inclined like that, you know. I
Yeah,
was particularly disappointed with you. Everyone watching know how inclined I am to Samuel Etofis. Matter of fact, Samuel Etofis is
yeah,
that, to me, that one figure in Africa that we can use to represent the youth in so many ramifications like that. He's the pride of Cameroon. If we want one person that we can use and idolize, it was Samuel Etofis. But I was particularly disappointed when Samuel Etofis came out to endorse Paul Biya. I'm like, the least you could do is just be silent at this point in time. Like, okay, we understand that you're in the system. There's a whole lot of politics happening there. That it's everything is not necessarily white and black like that. Sometimes we understand the gray areas, but for you to come out when the emotions of the people are at high, and the people are trying to communicate a pain for these many years, and you endorse a regime that even the blind can tell that is failed. It is the heart of what will fail me. That particular
yeah.
action, do you know that I continuously went to research to see in my mind, like, okay, well, that was the previous endorsement. And no, he is not the previous one. And then he could wake up.
It's
I'm like,
not.
well, this is my
It's
Sunny Eto
not.
now. You
No,
know,
it's not. He
I
endorsed
was so
him.
pained. And then I got to the point where, hey, see, it's very telling. You mentioned Ganu. Ganu has lived the failure of the system firsthand. So
System.
he is meant to be
Yes.
the one to talk about this. Sadly, this
Yes.
is the thing about the youth that I get so frustrated about. You and I have lived in the system. We come from the trenches, and then we get to that place, and then we become the regime in itself. Because think about it. You are the one to stand up and say, you know what? No, this is wrong. At this point, this is wrong. Because you see, whether you like it or not, this regime is passive. We are
Yeah.
the stage play. At this point, we are the
Yeah.
ones that what we are acting now is what we're going to see. But when we get into the system and we are worse off than even these ancestors we call, I bleed. My heart bleeds for us and for posterity, the
Yeah.
people that are yet,
I,
because it feels like it's the same thing that is going round, you know. So, I mean, for those of us who are watching, This is just to say that our voices matter, especially at this point in time. I've hijacked Dr. Elonge's interview. I guess he'll come back on screen. I'm not sure what has happened to his own side of the collage. So please, if you can get him back on screen. But this is just the pain in our hearts. So when we see artists come out and they're being bashed, it is not because we don't love them. Matter of fact, no, it's because we love them too much and we expect a lot from them. If we are in positions that we have voices to echo out there and we do not speak, posterity will hold us accountable. Because at the end of the day, we can't be bribed. Our voices, we cannot be stifled. Our voices cannot be stifled. With how much would the government give us to sit silent over these many years of torment? How much? How much can the government give us to be silent? How much is your voice worth? Can you get Dr. Elonge back on screen, please? You see, these things we talk about is not because, oh, we are fine wherever we are. We can live for the rest of our lives and our generations will be unperturbed. But we worry about the people and our country. For the love of Cameroon, we do this. And so we're saying that, no, we don't come on social media and talk about these things because we want to talk. Somebody's saying that, oh, then you left relationships and issues and you're talking about politics. If you don't talk about it, who else? If you don't echo your voice at this time, that matters. So it's not about people talking. It is talking when it matters greatly. You know, people can wake up and speak, but when it really matters, please lend your voice. And so, no, it's not the fear of Cameroon.
What is the urgency?
If whatever happens, that's our country. We'll go back to Cameroon. So no, we're not sitting here and saying goodbye to Cameroon. We are going back. But we're saying that when it matters most, and especially at this point in time in this dispensation, if you're not speaking up or at least calling these things, we're not saying that support Issa Tchiroma, because this is a thing. Dr. Elonge, let me say this. A lot of youths are thinking, especially those who still have grievances against Issa Tchiroma based off of history, which I completely get it. This is Dr. Elonge is there outrightly endorsed Issa Tchiroma. Daily Singer is here. I did not endorse Tchiroma, and I've not regretted that action to tomorrow. But we understand that we have a common denominator. Somebody that can pass on a message to the regime that they would understand, at least considerably. I am a bona fide SDF. My dad taught me about that. Showed me the fight of me, John Frundi, until tomorrow. I would hold on to that. And so if I'm voting, I was voting SDF from history. You see, but certain that SDF did not have the bandwidth to shake the regime like Issa Tchiroma. So some of us are not saying you should be a Issa Tchiroma based somebody. We are just saying change is change, regardless of the quarters from which it's coming from. I've hijacked Dr. Elonge's talk because I like to speak. You all know that, you know. So because he's side of the. Can I get Dr. Elonge back on screen? This is not about you even being part of a political party. This is just us saying that enough is enough. This is us saying that we've come this far. And if you've not been able to grant us this change for this length of time, please, even if it would take another member from the CPDM party to make that change, we are okay with that. But hey, give us a break. And I think that even the CPDM members listening to us understand what we're saying. So when you chicken out of this and say you are afraid, they know who you are. They're singing for who you truly are. Coming there to endorse Biya, Biya even knows you endorsing him at this stage. See, he knows that, you are just coming to benefit. All this about the benefits. No, you are not more Cameroonian endorsing Biya than we are. He knows, like I said, if he wants to trust anybody, he would rather trust Dr. Elonge. You see what I mean? So again, it is the plight of a Cameroonian, a patriotic one, saying this is not a political thing. It is more of a civic responsibility than even a political whatever. You see. So Dr. Elonge, please, I'm sorry about this.
What do I add? What do I add? You've said everything I could possibly say. Again, it's really not saying this, vote for Tchiroma. No, I have never really been publicly partisan in terms of endorsing anybody. I like I told you, I voted for the SDF in 2011 when Frundi was running. I voted for Campo in 2018. In the municipal elections, there's an election I voted CPP, and which was Kawala. You know, the representative of Kawala there, and I've even voted for PAP of the late Aya Paul. You know, yeah. So it's. I'm not saying we should all. First of all, again, that's not even providing the bandwidth for democratic discussion. If I have to impose on you what you should do, it's true that I'll try to persuade you to come on board. But you should be able to have enough agency to do what you like. But I fundamentally disagree with anybody who is on the CPDM ship. I fundamentally disagree. I would definitely debate with any other opposition person if you support an opposition, but I fundamentally disagree. And it's because it's not just politics; it's about my life, right? You've had the opportunity to make my life better. You've made it considerably worse. You've taken away my agency. You've taken away my freedoms. For anybody to sit and endorse a dictator, an autocrat, and think that we are still discussing politics. No, because you're not being fair. It's not fair play. What you're advocating for is a continual subjugation of my individual freedoms. So I don't have the time to discuss with any of them. I cannot be friends with any of them. I cannot tolerate them. At the most, I distance myself from them. That's the best I can do. But it would always be it will be I say it will be hypocritical of me to, in the same breath, think that I can not like the Biya regime and wholeheartedly just fraternize with those who support it. If we disagreed on ideology, see, in America you have the Republican, you have the Democrat, you have all of them believe they can make the country better. And when they come, you see the reforms and you see this and you see all of that, right? But fundamentally, you see love of country. You see fundamental willingness to improve the lives of their country people. Fundamentally. I can tell you without a doubt that I have more freedoms in the foreign land that I have in Cameroon. I cannot move to Douala without stepping from one police checkpoint to another. I would have to step out of the car, show my ID card, like in some kind of Jim Crow law, would show my ID card, move, face some kind of harassment from a half-educated police officer who has no clue about policing. I remember when MC Dibenja, I said a lot of these stories are not mine to say, but this one is my son, so let me say it. MC Dibenja was traveling to Douala, and the police officer stopped him. They seized his phone. Went through his phone without any authorization. There was no emergency, nothing. But because they know there can be no consequence, they went through his phone. Then they took all of the money from his mobile money and transferred to theirs. Without consequence. They said he did not have an ID card. Since when would the non-possession of an ID card require you to steal from an ordinary citizen all of their money in their account? And then somebody comes and says that no, we have to have the same of that system for another 7 years. And you're saying we just have to have kind of an intellectual discussion and say, no, fundamentally you are against my existence. You're against my existence. It would have been different if we were arguing about, oh, how do you think healthcare should come about? How do you think this should come about? Do you think we should have more public or private school? Do you think we should do this? No. But we are having an argument about whether the police should be stopping me along the road, and you're telling me you want to support the CPTM. And for crying out loud, I have seen young people doing it. I am saying this publicly. If you're a young person supporting the Biya region and CPTM, stay away. Stay away. This thing is moving from temptation to provocation to just annoyance and enmity. So let's keep it like that. We are at a crossroad in our nation's history where we cannot be taken. There is no way. See, Delhi, I cannot tell you how how frustrated I am with the way things are. Because the amount of potential that we have. I've been in America and sometimes I try to document the stories of Cameroonians who have used the Mexico road. I have a friend who used 2 years to travel to America because he was in Kumba. This was a graduate and everything, and he even tried to do things on his own and he failed because of the tax system and all of that. And he traveled for 2 years. In that process, I cannot tell you the number of, when he tells me the story, the number of people that he saw who died along the road. Women, young girls, pregnant. Look at from there, and they would have to go physically challenged, would have to move out of that country because he's looking for a better life. I cannot tell you, I have a friend here who has a monitor on his feet in another country because his own country has failed him. And then somebody sits, a young person sits and endorses the same system, for crying out loud. And endorses that same system and wants us to have a civil discussion on that. When if just any form of dissent on that system does not even want a civil discussion, because any form of criticism of it carries the maximum punishment, sometimes fatal. And then so how do we, you come to America, you go to Europe, the best of the best of the Cameroonian mind, the best of the best. I see the work that I was doing. I was trying to do a documentary of Cameroonian immigrants. I know people who came to this country with the equivalent of 10,000 francs who are millionaires now, which means that they had ideas, they had agency, they had all of that. But the country did not provide the enabling environment for them to thrive. It did not. I look at myself, and this is not arrogance. The amount of potential I have, and I have to deal with some nitwit in some government office. I worked in offices in that place where I was put in a vegetative state of filling forms. You go along there to fill forms. And then you would have somebody who through some kind of connection I have to respond to. Somebody whose greatest accomplishment is being able to spell the name of his forefathers. And somehow I am supposed to be subjugated to that, because they have an international transfer of this malice of a disease called CPDM and the Biya regime that is putting them in places where they are not supposed to be and taking agency away from other people. For crying out loud, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired of it. So I do not take a middle ground of telling anybody who supports the CPDM that I don't want you near me. I don't want you near me. Stay far away because you are the problem. And to every young person who supports the CPDM, shame on you. Shame on you.
It's sad to say the least. I think there's no better way to express these sentiments than Dr. Longe has done. What a formidable way to. No, we're still. I'm just trying to key in on what you said. I mean, what a fantastic way for us to close the show. I wanted to say your final words, but then those were the final words you're taking away from me already. Those of you listening, I know you share the same sentiments. Bize, Vego is there. We see you. Akwani Rita, we see you. Joseph B has been there. Joseph B is in the UAE and you can imagine the time now. So he stayed up just to watch this and he's been so participative in the comment section, contributing. Thank you. I can't read all of your comments now. I mean, we've taken more than 2 hours to be on here and we can talk all day. This is just to let you know that there's pain in people's hearts. And so when you go around talking and making all sorts of these comments, understand that you're actually playing with the lives of a lot of people and, the destinies of even the ones yet to be born. We are against this system. Why we're doing that. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Longe. It was such an honor having you on here. We do appreciate you for coming and we're looking forward to having more of these sit downs again, as many as possible. If you would love to be part of this show and contribute, having a panel talk, not just a one-on-one like we're having, please do indicate, send us a message through our Facebook or TikTok or whatever platform you're watching us from. Okay, just so that we can have this talk, share your sentiments. It must not be exactly like Dr. Elonge's, not exactly like mine. We can just sit and have an intellectual exchange. And again, the goal is for us, to get our country better. Okay, so thank you so much again for watching. Thank you. Even at this juncture, I'll still insist you share this video because there's a whole lot of lessons to be learned from this. Thank you for coming on board. I'll see you again. God bless.
Love is a journey, a winding road. Sometimes sweet, sometimes a heavy load. Got questions burning, knots in your heart. Delhi's here to tear them apart. From the past that lingers to dreams yet to mold. Together we'll solve it, let the stories unfold. With laughter and tears, we'll not walk alone. In the rhythm of love, you'll find your tone. Hello Delhi, the beat is calling. Relationships talking, walls are falling. From Cameroon to London, New York to Paris. Sharing your stories, finding your home. Live in direct, let your voice be heard. Every question, every single word. Hello Delhi, your digital shrine for love and connection, a truth so divine. Marriage bells ringing, single and free. Culture clashing, what will it be? Tradition whispers, modern life screams. Delhi's got answers, fulfilling your dreams. Guiding through heartaches, joy.
With MoneyFX, sending money home just got faster. Enjoy top exchange rates, low fees, and transfers that land in under 10 minutes. Whether it's school fees in Cameroon, hospital bills in Nigeria, or family support in Ghana, MoneyFX makes every transfer count. MoneyFX, fast money transfer when it matters most. With MoneyFX, sending money home just got faster. Enjoy top exchange rates, low fees, and transfers that land in under 10 minutes. Whether it's school fees in Cameroon, hospital bills in Nigeria, or family support in Ghana, MoneyFX makes every transfer count. MoneyFX, fast money transfer when it matters most.